For some analysis, now we're joined by Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast on the latest development. Prof, good to have you. Good evening.
Thank you very much for having me, Tabo.
We are hearing 17 parties would have agreed to the government of national unity, barring those we have reservations or are still waiting for this thing to be fleshed out and to be put properly into some kind of strategic framework that will eventually become the law in the country. But we're hearing of exploratory talks, particularly between the MK party and the EFF, that have not materialized. I'm asking the question now, do you think that the EFF could be drawing the wrong conclusions on what the government of national unity should be?
I've always thought that the ideological proximity of the ANC and the EFF, they are close to each other, that there is ideological affinity or ideological alignment between the two political parties, and that they will join forces together, despite the fact that they have differences. But it looks like that arrangement was not maybe supported by an invisible hand, which is the market forces. So I think the ANC chose to join forces with the DA. I mean, it's quite clear. The cat is out of the bag. The IFP yesterday broke the news, and the ANC confirmed that in that interview with Fikile Mbalula, with the journalist, so that the ANC will join forces with the DA and with the IFP. Of course, they say that they've reached out to other political parties across the political spectrum. I think the rationale behind that is to please the market forces, which is interesting because people did not vote for the market forces. It's going to be an interesting turn of events, both within the ANC and also outside of the ANC, because I think there's a lot of discontentment within the ANC in terms of that deal. But of course, it will be embraced by the market forces. The issue of non-racialism is very interesting because how do you talk? I'm not saying that racially inspired policies are not needed, but the question is the DA going to agree with the argument that the ANC espouses the philosophical tradition of non-racialism while it pursues racially inspired policies of Triple BE and Employment Equity Act, because those policies are based on racial classification, which is very much contradictory, unless you are arguing that non-racialism is a destination. Yeah. So yeah, the arrangement by the look of things is that the ANC has struck a deal with the DA and that they will form a government of national unity together. It's going to be interesting, Tabo, because, I mean, for instance, on a global scale, that's why I'm saying that it makes sense to me that the ANC would work with the EFF, because both of them, they believe in the reimagination of the world order. Both of them believe that there must be a multipolar world order, but then the DA believes that, there must be a unipolar world order. America must be the superpower in the international system. I don't know how is the ANC going to strike those balance with the DA.
The EFF saying they will never meet with the DA. They will never work with right-wing parties. They will never work with Oppenheimer-funded political parties. What do you make of that posture in the moment? Should they oppose the GNU regardless of where the country is at this particular moment?
Well, you've got to look at their ideological pillars or their tools of analysis. I mean, the EFF is a Pan-Africanist political party, a black conscious political party, socialist political party, extremely leftist, not center-left, as opposed to the ANC, and it is not willing to compromise, because the fact of the matter is we don't have an outright winner At the moment, the ANC has been voted by 40% of the people of this country. So meaning that there has to be a compromise that is made in order to constitute a government. So, yeah, I mean, the EFF has chosen not to be part of that arrangement.
The EFF also warning of saying they spoke to the president that the MK party should be given an opportunity to lead in KwaZulu-Natal. Otherwise, I mean, in simple terms, you're asking for trouble. Is the ANC going to be complicit in the instability, would you say, that could come up because of this arrangement that they are making with those parties?
That is an interesting dynamic, Thabo, because my understanding is that Umkhonto weSizwe believes that they've been cheated on, that they should have won the elections nationally and also in KZN. They've argued that they should have won by 58%. That's why they wanted to put the proceedings of Parliament on hold, and they lost that court interdict. So how are you going to twist them and convince them to constitute a government if they are still, unhappy about the way things are? I mean, to me, that doesn't make sense in my view.
Yeah.
So the question is, do they want to constitute a government under the current circumstances, or do they still have a grievance that they should have won?
Yeah. Well, they are now going to participate in the provincial processes, according to their statement, even though they're boycotting the sitting at National Assembly. But then you have to ask yourself, why did the NFP and the MK party fail to reach an agreement? Because it seems that if they wanted it enough, they could have been able to win over the NFP.
Yes, of course. I mean, they got a huge percentage, which is 45%. So they only need, I think, 5% plus 1 to constitute a government. But I think from now until tomorrow or until over the weekend, anything can happen. I just hope that they will, give in to the demands of other political parties and form a government so that we can have stability in KZN, because there have been some security threats that have been intercepted by security forces, which are posing a serious danger to the stability of KZN. So I think if they can agree to form a government, I think then the dust will settle and then we can have peace in KZN, with the hope that will permeate to other parts of the country.
So the other thing that's coming out of this is that the EFF has put as part of their non-negotiables in their conversation with the president is the purging of EFF MMCs in a number of coalitions that the EFF has with the ANC, especially around here in Gauteng. Do you think there is a deliberate targeting of those coalitions in the operations of this government of national unity?
Thabo, we must bear in mind that at the moment it's, negotiations. I don't think that coalition arrangement should be based on a zero-sum game or a win-lose situation, or, there should be the mentality that, there is a winner that takes all. So I think the EFF is within its right, to make some demands with the hope that the ANC or other political parties will compromise. So I think it is strategic for them to put on the agenda other issues which are happening maybe at local government level or maybe at provincial government level. So I think that's the strategy to make sure that it's a give and take situation. To make sure that also this arrangement that political parties will strike a deal on, will not lead to a coalition arrangement that is unworkable or that is unstable.
Let's talk about that instability very quickly in a minute. What are the implications of a EFF speaker to the stability of the National Assembly, but also to the longevity of Cyril Ramaphosa as president of the country?
That will be very interesting, Thabo. given the fact that the issue of Phala is still looming large, and they believe that the president has a case to answer, because now the ANC is on the back foot. One-party dominance is a thing of the past. Even Balula has acknowledged that, the ANC has suffered a setback. It has been dealt with a blow in a big way. So the hegemony of the ANC has been dealt with a blow. So now it means that the ANC will not be in a position to bulldoze parliamentary processes as they have done in the past by using their majority. So I think the EFF is strategically positioning itself to make sure that also it holds, the government that will be led by the ANC, by the look of things, accountable, because the position of the speaker is a very strategic position in terms of instituting investigations. Many battles have been won in that office, so no wonder they want to occupy that position. But with the current arrangement that we have with the ANC and the DA, is the EFF going to get that position? I don't think so.
Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on.